Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started here a little bit earlier than normal. Welcome to this morning's Data Exchange Machine Monitoring webinar titled Turning Fabtech 2025 Momentum into Measurable Gains. We host a webinar about Scytec DataXchange Machine Monitoring and Smart Factory Technology on a monthly basis, usually about some sort of topic related to machine monitoring. For those of you that are kind of seasoned data exchange users, this is going to be geared towards the people that we met out at Fabtech this past month that are interested in machine monitoring. These normally go from about 25 minutes to about a half hour, but this one is going to be a little bit longer as this is going to be a general overview of the data exchange machine monitoring platform. As well as having a demonstration that we normally don't have in the month-to-month webinars. So the first thing I'd like to do is go over an order of events for this morning's webinar. And if you have to leave early or something like that, or something kind of comes up in the middle of this, we do host these on our website as well as YouTube and put them in our newsletter. So if you are a user or you are in our system, you will be getting this in our newsletter sometime tomorrow. But first, I'd like to go over is kind of what we're going to be discussing. So what we'd like to start out here first with is, what are you looking to achieve with data exchange and machine monitoring in general? Basically, what kind of problems are you looking to solve out on your shop floor? Next, we are going to be discussing what are you looking to track and what can also be tracked inside of data exchange machine monitoring. We will also be discussing how we connect to your shop floor equipment and how we pull data off of that. We're also going to be discussing the areas to define for use with Scytec Data Exchange, followed up by the data exchange applications and their use. Then we are going to be discussing the different manufacturing charts and dashboards that I will also be showing you later on in a demonstration. The notification feature set in Data Exchange, followed up by a demonstration of Data Display, which is our mobile and browser-based reporting tool. And I'm also going to be discussing the data exchange resources about how we, advocate for our clients in terms of learning the data exchange platform and what you can do for further outreach to find out more information if you have any technical questions as well. So first off, I'd like to discuss what are you looking to achieve with Scytec Data Exchange Machine Monitoring. So data exchange has many benefits. What are you looking to achieve? You can collect data from your shop floor equipment that produces real-time and historical analytic reports about your shop floor performance with Data Exchange. You can discover hidden bottlenecks as well as unknown wins in your shop floor processes. You can reduce machine downtime. You can increase machine utilization and OEE. And for those of you that work inside of aerospace, we also offer the most accurate digital twins with the CNC Machine Connect plugin for Vericut. I'm going to be discussing some things on here that I'm not going to be able to delve into just because there's only so much time. But if I bring up something, more than likely we have a webinar about that as well, where you can find out more information. Another good plus of data exchange is, if your ERP reporting just isn't enough and not reporting the needed metrics, data exchange also integrates with common ERP platforms like JobBoss. And you can also, with data exchange, win new contracts, have better quoting, and meet deadlines sooner. Now, next month, I'm going to be having a specific data exchange case studies webinar where I'm going to be discussing a lot more of this stuff. But I just wanted to go over some of the stuff that our clients have achieved with Scytec Data Exchange. And you can also find this out online at our website at scytec.com/Scytec Data Exchange case studies. But we've had clients that have seen increases of 15% in utilization. They have also won new business with Data Exchange and achieved full data visibility and accuracy, as well as a decrease in their machine downtime. We have another client that has seen an increase in productivity, increases in teamwork and processes. We had another client that saw an immediate increase of 10 to 20% in their machine utilization that then went up to 30% with more data exchange use and going from one of the licensing levels to a higher one, as well as an increase in data driven decision making. And then finally, we had a client that saw an increase in capital saved, a decrease in cost per parts, and increases in part counts and utilization. So as I said, if you want to learn more about what some of our clients have achieved with DataXchange, please go to our website where you can find them in both white paper form as well as video form. Next up, I'd like to discuss what you can track inside of Scytec DataXchange machine monitoring. So what are you looking to track, and what can those tracking points help you in terms of issues that you are looking to tackle out on your shop floor? So there's a lot of things that we can track inside of DataXchange, but I'm going to give you a kind of high-level overview of the things that you're able to track, such as machine downtimes, which can be split into known and unknown and planned and unplanned downtimes, uptime and machine utilization, which is, like if your machines are cutting or in cycle. We also have the ability to track good and scrap part counts, see real-time machine status, which you can see as a screenshot over there on the right that I will discuss here at the end of this list. You can also discover patterns that can eliminate production bottlenecks you may not even be aware existed. You can receive instant notification for shop floor events as thresholds that you define have been crossed. You can also track ideal setup times, M0 and M1 stoppages, breaks, alarms, and also accurate OEE information that includes planned setup times as well as a host of other things. So what you were looking at over there on that right-hand side in that little screen image is our real-time equipment view, where you can see that we have a Doosan and a Haas machine. The Doosan machine has currently been in a low override for 17 minutes, and the Haas has been cutting for 13 minutes. And this is something that you can display up on a TV, a computer, or even your phone or something like that. And then also you can see a breakdown of all of the machine status percentages as well with those pie charts. So the Doosan has been in an unknown downtime for 53% of your available time, a 44% low override, 3% in breaks, and then same thing with the Haas, where that machine has been in close to half of the available time has been in an unknown downtime, 22% has been cutting, 20% has been in setup, and then 10% has been in excess setup. So the first order of business when you sign up for Scytec DataXchange machine monitoring is how we get connected to your equipment and then pull information off of that to populate the manufacturing charts and dashboards that are available inside of Scytec DataXchange. So what we need to know is, does your machine have an Ethernet port on it, as well as the brand, and the age, and the control types? So this is what I'm going to be discussing is predominantly a lot of our clients are CNC based, and because this is kind of catered towards those who we met out at Fabtech, you're going to be kind of using a different connection method. But for the most part, we do have a lot of kind of mixed operations with clients that have CNC machines as well as fabrication things like welders, press brakes, etc. But the way that we access the data that is on your machine is through common protocols, such as FANUC has the FANUC Focus protocol, Akuma has their Think, and plenty more that we are able to directly access. And if we can't use one of those industry protocols to connect to your machines, there's also open industry standard protocols such as NT Connect or OPCUA. So when you're ready to sign up for Scytec DataXchange, one of the things we ask for is a machine list, in like an Excel document where you type out the machines that you have, their control types, how old they are, etc. And then the professionals at Scytec can determine how we will connect to those machines. So let's say that you have fabrication equipment or older legacy machines that do not have Ethernet ports on them. There's still plenty of ways that we can track information off of those with what we call our SRC, which stands for Status Relay Controller. We have a webinar about this as well. And the SRC, which you can see down there in that bottom right corner, is a pre-programmed, ready-to-go PLC that is cost-effective, that ships from the Scytec headquarters, ready to work with your equipment. So this PLC can track information off of, as I said, fabrication equipment, as well as older CNCs, and then also machine sensors for those of you that are looking to monitor stuff that is coming off of sensors, including thermocouples, humidity sensors, data listeners, barcode scanners, relay, and more. I recently just had a webinar about this as well that you can find on our main Scytec.com website, as well as our YouTube channel titled Machines That You Didn't Know That You Can Monitor, that goes over all this kind of stuff. But from a sensor kind of standpoint, we do have clients that are using DataXchange to monitor kind of special case scenarios. Like we have a client that uses humidity sensors to measure their environment temperature, humidity, etc., so that if it gets too humid or something like that, or too hot, that you could warp your materials or something like that, and they know that they have to go out there and shut down production. And that's all thanks to the information that is pulled off Scytec DataXchange machine monitoring. Next up, I'm going to be discussing the areas to define for use with Scytec DataXchange. So one of the first things, as well as for setup with new clients, is we like to kind of find out what their issues are, and then what of our licensing levels and the features that are provided will accommodate them to solving those issues. And we don't like to get you guys kind of like going right off into the higher gold and platinum licensing levels. We actually advocate here at Scytec to start off on the bronze licensing levels, which can do things like track automatic cycle statuses, as well as feed rate and rapid overrides and unknown downtimes. So to put that simply, it's basically telling you if your machines are running or not running. And then from there, once you kind of figure out the DataXchange machine monitoring platform and it is inserted into your daily routine and you guys are using it via all your employment levels, from there, then we advocate for you guys to step up to the higher licensing levels like silver and gold. And silver offers planned and unplanned downtimes, barcode scanner data entry, as well as a supplemental application that I'm going to be going over later in this webinar. And then gold offers things like alarm details, part numbers, good and scrap part counts. And then platinum offers everything that I mentioned before. There is an entire web page devoted to these features. This is just a screenshot of like a few of them. We have a long list of them that you can find out online. But Platinum also offers our integration with CG Tech Vericut for CNC machine connectivity as well. Now, there's also 3 different deployments you can use with Scytec DataXchange, depending on what kind of your security parameters are. And everything deployment-wise is ITAR and FedRAMP compliant. So with our most common commercial cloud offering, it offers low overhead, low cost. It's the easiest to get started for trials. No hardware is required. We have people that have Ethernet ports on their machine up and collecting information in as little as a half an hour with that. Next up, we have the secure cloud deployment offering, which is hosted on AWS GovCloud, where data is encrypted at all stages of rest and motion. And then finally, the most secure offering, which is our on-premise solution. And that's for those of you that are requiring an air gap where nothing leaves your facility, nothing is stored inside of a cloud. It's basically like buying the DataXchange machine monitoring platform outright. For the cloud offerings, we offer month to month as well as annual terms for those. But the on-premise solution is basically buying it outright, where maintenance costs are done yearly. And you need to have a company-owned web and SQL server so that you can store all the data on your site. Next up, we will be discussing is who will be using and how with Scytec DataXchange. And in DataXchange, you can define who has access to what via either permissions or what employment levels have access to different feature sets, etc. So you can split those up into users and user groups, which are typically split up by employment levels, such as managers, supervisors, machinists, operators, etc. You can also split things up for different geographic locations by plants with the ability to add or modify physical locations. One of the things that's really nice about Scytec DataXchange is that we offer unlimited users and locations all under one account. So you could have, like 100 different users, and you can have multiple different locations. So if you had one plant that was in Georgia and then another in New York or something like that, we don't charge you for that extra location. Those all fall under the sole account that you have with DataXchange. We also have the ability to add or remove different equipment groups. So let's say you had a CNC section as well as a fabrication section inside of your production facility. You could split the equipment up for that as well. So if you had operators working inside of different cells or something like that. And then, as I mentioned as well earlier, that we also have the ability to allow certain user groups permissions based off of their employment types and levels. So we have security permissions in DataXchange, which allow different users to access different things. Next up, I'm going to be discussing the equipment status definitions. So another thing that is very nice about Scytec DataXchange is the ability that, or everything inside of Scytec DataXchange is 100% user defined. So you define all of your rules and how all the data gets displayed as well. But what typically we do, so if you look over in the right, we have an image of a chart that we have, and then you can see on the right-hand side, there's a bunch of colors with corresponding machine statuses such as tooling, quality, no material, M0 pauses, excess setup, alarms, and more. So how we typically do this from the get-go is things that are in cycle, cutting, etc., are in shades of green, which can also be low and high overrides, as well as machine warm-ups. Planned downtimes are in shades of blue, which can be things like breaks and setup. And then unknown downtimes are in shades of orange. And then unplanned downtimes are custom, where you can define them. And those can be things like no material, maintenance, alarms, etc. So as I said, everything in DataXchange is 100% user defined, meaning that you can show this information how you'd like to, but this is just kind of how we start things off and what's typical of how customers show their reported metrics. Next up, I'm going to be discussing the different DataXchange applications, and there's two main ones. The first one that I'm going to be discussing is the one that I'm going to be showing you in a demonstration at the end of this webinar, which is Data Display. And Data Display is our browser-based reporting tool, and it's going to be the one that's used by the most of your shop floor personnel. We also have the ODI, which is only available on the silver and above licensing levels. And the ODI stands for Operator Data Interface. And the way that I like to describe it is that it takes the DataXchange machine monitoring platform from a monitoring platform to more of a communications one, as you can now receive operator feedback with this application for specific unknown and unplanned downtimes, as well as seeing machine statuses in real time. So with the ODI, there's going to be some machine statuses that are just not going to be able to be collected automatically with DataXchange. And that includes things like, you had an excess setup, or you had an operator that took too long of a break or something like that, or a carbide on a machine broke. Those can all be entered via this tablet that you would have with an operator working inside of a cell. And the image that you can see over there on the left is the ODI. And once again, we do have a separate webinar about the ODI and all of its provisions that you can find on our YouTube channel, as well as main Scytec.com website. And then finally, we have a third application, which is the desktop configuration application. And there's just not going to be a whole lot of people using that out on your shop floor. This is going to be more for the person that does the initial setup, which we walk you through how to use everything here with our Scytec professionals during your onboarding process. Next up, I'm going to be kind of very briefly going over the charts and dashboards. So the charts that are provided by Scytec DataXchange, and I'm going to be showing you these here as well in our demonstration, but the charts are basically more for the historical reporting, and they include the timeline, the equipment status summary charts, as well as the downtime summary and Pareto charts. So the timeline chart shows a chart of every machine status, and the downtime Pareto shows you all of your big downtime issues going there from left to right. The downtime Pareto is the one there on the right side. And if you look over on the left and then go down to the right, that'll show you the major issues that are currently affecting your shop floor performance. And then the one on the left is the timeline chart, which shows a time frame of your choosing of all of the different machine statuses that could, transpire in a shift, a day, a week, a month, a year. It's whatever you wanted to describe it. And I'm going to be showing you this here in just a minute. Next up, we have our real-time dashboards. And I want you guys to imagine these images that you're looking at right now on a TV out on your shop floor or a computer on your phone, whatever. We have a few different real-time dashboards, including the equipment view, which you can see over there on the left-hand, the top left-hand corner, which I kind of went through that as well. I'm going to be showing you that here in just a minute in our demonstration, as well as our RTV, which are the other two images that you see, which include a shop floor layout, as well as RTV alarm views. And all of these are 100% user-defined as well, too, where you can demand what data that you want to be shown on here, which can include, the part numbers you're working on, the work order numbers, your utilization rate, your parts per hour percentage, as well as the current machine status. So I'm going to be going over the notification feature set next within Scytec DataXchange. So there's three main ways that you can get notifications via Scytec DataXchange, which include Microsoft Teams, text, and email. And messages are sent to those who you demand after events and thresholds you define are crossed or met. So let's say that you have a work order that got completed. You can have that notification be sent to people's emails, text, or via Microsoft Teams when a work order is finished. Or the example that I like to give quite a bit is, let's say you have a machine that has been in an unknown downtime for 30 minutes. At that 30-minute mark, you can have DataXchange notify your operator to go out and figure out whatever is going on with that machine. And then there's also some escalation tactics that you can kind of implement in there as well. So let's say at a half hour, you have your operator get notified. At an hour of unknown downtime, a manager, and then so on and so forth. So at like 2 hours, a supervisor could then be notified. And with our notifications, when you do your onboarding process, we help you set these up from the get-go. We also have some canned ones that start right off the cuff with DataXchange that come with DataXchange pre-canned. Next up, I'm going to be going over some of the methods for how you can view DataXchange out on your guys' shop floor. So these are all the real-time equipment view from clients of ours and how they use them. The top right corner there, we have a TV that is out on a tripod. And then the other two images that you can see there is that people have them hung from the ceilings, showing different operators in cells, the equipment that they have inside of their cells with their current equipment statuses and the other needed metrics that they are needed to be shown. So how do you do this? How do you view DataXchange on a TV? What we advocate for here at Scytec are these little mini PCs that are under $200 called Melees. You can use kind of any brand that you want, but the ones that we like to, offer clients are the mini Melee PCs. And we advocate for the 16 gigabyte fanless model. You can also use an 8 gigabyte as well. The reason why we kind of advocate for the 16 gigabyte model is that Windows keeps taking up a lot more room on these on your operating system. So the 16 gigabyte fanless is kind of what we advocate for. And as well with the fanless is that, with coolant and some of the other stuff that's kind of floating out there in your shop floor, that can, get into the fan of some of these and kind of clog them up. So we actually advocate for using the 16 gigabyte fanless mini PC models that you can plug into a TV that I showed you in the images right before this slide. Next up, I'm going to be talking about the ODI recommendations. And as I mentioned, the ODI is only available on our silver and above licensing levels. And Scytec recommends having your ODI set to the equipment overlay mode, which you can see in that image on the left, so that you can view all the machines and statuses inside of your cell easily, and to have them in a protected case that can be mounted to the machine via magnets or on a floor stand. And this provides, we also have the ability to make the ODI flash when a certain threshold is crossed, alerting the operator. So once again, this is another one of our notification features. And as I said, you can mount these to your CNC and other shop floor equipments with magnets that you can see on that DMG Mori in the top left-hand corner, as well as you can put them in enclosures from a company called VitaBox that we really like here at Scytec. And they also offer floor stands as well too. And this is for your operators that are working inside of a cell with multiple different machines, where they can see all the machine statuses and do that extra kind of downtime tracking with the supplemental application. So from here, I'm going to be doing our data display walkthrough. So what we're looking at here is the dx.com landing page, where this is where you can find everything related to DataXchange that you will need, including a link to the data display launchpad, which I'm going to be showing you, as well as the install for the desktop configuration applications, and then downloads for the data display mobile app and the operator data interface app as well. So what we are looking at here is the data display launchpad, which has all your charts, reports, your real-time manufacturing dashboards, as well as your saved charts and reports in RTV. I'm going to be going over some of the charts, starting first with the timeline chart. And as I mentioned earlier, the timeline chart is a good starting point. It shows a time frame of all your different machine statuses. So what I'd like to do here is we're going to do the filtering first, where I want to see all of the metrics for yesterday. We also have the ability to sort by different shift groups. So I want to find out everything that happened yesterday is in the Fort Collins plant. And this has things like a FANUC 31i, a Siemens 840D, a DMG, Mori machine, Makino, Mazak, and some other machines in there as well. And we can also sort by different machine statuses, including general and specific. I always like showing the specific machine statuses. And then you have some other things that you can turn on here, as well as, if your machine is connected to the DataXchange service, as well as part number tracking and your options for how this gets displayed. And one of the other things that's really nice about DataXchange is the ability to save all this filtering, so you don't have to do it every time you want, with our save chart options, which you can find back out on the main landing page here. So when you go and do all the filtering and you want to just have the ability to access a certain chart from the get-go, you can come back and save that chart and it'll populate out here. So first, I'd like to show you the timeline chart, and then I can show you how you can then schedule those charts so they hit your email inbox on a recurring basis. So, you go into a Gemba walk or a production meeting with all the necessary metrics for whatever time frame of machine performance you're looking for. So let's say you go ahead and do all this filtering. You come up here to this bar chart. This will then populate your chart, where you can see all of the machine statuses. For what I wanted was a time frame for yesterday. This will populate everything. And we can see that everything over here on the right in terms of machine statuses include our unknown downtimes, our M0 pauses, our cutting cycles, alarms, setup, high and low overrides, and more. So this is giving us an entire day's worth of machine statuses. So we can see that this Makino machine has been in a normal cycle for this specific period of time for about 4 hours. And you can select this time frame and zoom in on them closer to get a more kind of drilled in time frame of what you're looking for. So we have a Siemens 840D that around 12:30 yesterday was in a high override for when that machine status start and how long it transpired. So as I said, once you do all that filtering and you want to have that specific chart sent to you on a recurring basis, you can do so and save it where it'll populate down here. And then at the bottom of the filtering page for your chart that is saved, you then have the ability to schedule that chart, where you can have it either enabled or disabled. You can choose who the recipients are based off of user groups, as I mentioned earlier, for different employment levels, when they get sent it, at what time, etc., and then also the resolution. So the next chart that I'm going to be going over is the summary chart. And the summary chart shows the same information that was just shown in the timeline chart, but everything is grouped as statuses. So once again, you can do all the filtering that you want. I'm once again going to be showing all the machinery at our Fort Collins plant. And there's some more filtering that you can do as well down here. Once again, we have our specific cycle statuses and the specific as opposed to general planned and unplanned downtimes. And then some filterings for parts and work orders that you can do as well. So let's come up here and see this chart and what it looks like. So as I said, this shows us all of the same information as before with the timeline chart, but now all of the machine statuses are grouped into percentages. So same time frame as yesterday, as I'm looking for all of the machine statuses that transpired in the day prior. So in all of the available time that was in the previous day, our Makino machine was in a normal cycle, so it was cutting for 84% of that available time, as well as it was in an unknown downtime for about 3.5 hours, accumulating for 14% of the available time. And then it was in an alarm for close to about a half hour for a total accumulation of about 2% of the available time. So the next chart that I'm going to be discussing here is our downtime Pareto. And these are just 3 of many charts that you can see here. These what I feel are kind of like the easiest to understand from a kind of new user standpoint, and they're the most helpful. So the downtime Pareto chart is, once again, you can do all the different filtering that we can see here. I'm going to go ahead and show you what this chart looks like. Now, for those of you that are familiar with the Pareto rule, it kind of states that 80% of problems can be solved by tackling 20% of the issues. So this shows the biggest issues that are currently affecting your shop floor right now. So for this given day, the biggest issues going from left to right here will show that the biggest issue is the M0 waiting for operator pauses with 11 different occurrences. And that took up for about close to 50% of your total machine downtime. The next big issue that we have is tooling with 1 occurrence, and that accumulated for close to 20% of the total machine downtime. And then from there, we have an alarm. So this is very helpful for determining what are the biggest issues affecting your shop floor. Next up, I'm going to be showing you one of the real-time manufacturing dashboards in the equipment view, which I showed you earlier as being on all those TVs. Now, the equipment view can show you all sorts of different machine statuses as well. So we have a bunch of filtering that we can do down here called our current values. We have our general equipment statuses, and I'm going to be just showing you some very easy ones with the specific equipment status and their specific duration. But we can also track things like program numbers, the amount of good parts that have been produced, parts per hour percentages, part numbers, work order numbers, parts per hour plans, scrap parts, the user that is logged into DataXchange, whether or not you're connected to the DataXchange service, and a whole lot of other things, including scrap notes and more. So you can have all of these populated, and I'm going to show you this dashboard here in a second, right here on this real-time equipment view. Like I said, this would be going out on a TV out on your shop floor, showing you all the different machines, including a Fabtech 31i, a Siemens 840D, a Makino, etc. As well as I went over the different kind of parameters that are offered. So with those current values that I said that you could select just a second ago, these would populate here, showing you things like your specific machine equipment status, how long that status has been going on, and what is the current status going on with this machine. So our Fabtech 31i has been cutting for about 4 minutes. We have a manual machine over here as well that has been in an unknown downtime for about 2 hours, or close to about 3 hours. So this is our real-time equipment view. We have some other real-time dashboards as well with the real-time list that shows you basically everything I just showed you in the equipment view, but in kind of more of a streamlined manner, as well as the equipment summation list, which is one of our more new offerings for the real-time equipment dashboards. Finally, I'm going to show you the RTV, which is our real-time viewer. And this thing is 100% user definable with a lot of different chart offerings as well. So I'm going to show you first the RTV alarm view. And we don't have enough time to show you how you can design these, but Eventually, in a future DataXchange update, we are going to be able to design all of these inside of the data display browser-based and mobile reporting tool that I've been showing you here for this demonstration. So what you're looking at here is a view for alarms. And there's 3 different views inside of these with 3 different charts showing you an alarm grid up here in the top, which has all of your different equipment names, the alarm types that have transpired, the alarm codes, their descriptions, how long they've been going on for, their quantity, as well as some other metrics. And then below there, we have alarm Pareto by both time and by occurrence. So with these views inside of the RTV, you can configure these to your heart's extent for whatever you'd like. So this is a specific view showing you alarms. Next up, I'm going to be just showing you equipment status for a given 8-hour shift. So this is a different view with equipment downtime and machine summaries. So this here in the top left is a 8-hour equipment status summary showing you all of your different machine statuses. And then next to that, we have a timeline chart, which I showed you as well as a singular chart, but you can now have this chart grouped into a RTV view, and then followed by down here in the bottom left, an equipment status grid. So next up, I'm going to be showing you 2 different of our shop floor layouts. So if you see these little icons up here, this is all of your different alarms all of your different RTV views that you have. And you can play these on a TV where they would kind of cycle in and out at given intervals that for whatever you determine. So if you think about this image like being on a TV, that it would show it like, 10, 15, 20 seconds, then it would kind of cycle into an alarm, your equipment status, and all the other different RTV views that you have. So what we're looking at here is a very common view, which is our shop floor layout view. And you can use any image that you want, but what's kind of typical is a overhead bird's eye view of everything that would be out on your production facility. So I want you guys to think about this image like it's a top-down schematic of what your production facility would look like, including all of the machines and their current statuses, as well as those real-time equipment values that you can have turned on there as well. So we have a hard-hinge machine that is currently in a normal cycle that's been in that cycle for about 5 minutes. We have an Akuma machine that has been in a low override for 16 minutes. Next to that, we have a Doosan machine that has been in an unknown downtime for 22 minutes. So as I said, everything inside of Scytec DataXchange is 100% user configurable, and it also applies to the shop floor layout where you can use any kind of image as well. So like I said, a lot of our clients use the top-down kind of schematic version of the shop floor layout, but you can also do kind of like a 3D rendering here as well of your shop floor equipment, where we have 2 machines kind of side by side next to each other, as well as a cobot. And we are currently showing the current machine status for this Fabtech machine, showing that it is in a normal cycle with this green color that you see kind of outlined around it, how long the machine status has transpired, as well as the part numbers and part counts and feed rate overrides that the machine is experiencing. And then next to that, we have another 3D machine that has been in an unknown downtime. This is our Siemens 840D machine. It has been in an unknown it's been in that unknown downtime, hence by that kind of orange coloring that I talked about earlier, the part number that is working on, how many part counts it has produced, and the feed rate override is more. So you're not beholden to anything that is just shown here for this demonstration. As I mentioned, and cannot hone in on enough, that everything inside of Scytec DataXchange is 100% user definable. What is shown metric-wise is what you demand and is what is supposed to be for solving your specific shop floor problems. And as I said, when you do the kind of onboarding process here at Scytec, we help you along the way. We do not just let you sign on the dotted line. We want to see that you guys succeed in tackling your shop floor issues. And we are here to help you from not only just the beginning, but throughout all of your manufacturing processes. So from here, I'm going to